Greetings and salutations, everybody. I got a gooey and sticky one here, which is, how I can kind of best describe the overall feel of a film which I recently revisited, which had only dim memories of, which was Demons from 1985, a Dario Argento film directed by Lamberto Bava, which really pushed the limits of what we were, what we would typically see back in the day when this came out. It's quite extreme. As for what it's about, though, the synopsis is as follows. A group of random people are invited to a screening of a mysterious movie only to find themselves trapped in the theater with ravenous demons. So to set this up a little bit more, we are in Berlin, I believe, and as these tickets are being handed out, one nice connection to another one of the videos that he did was that the person handing out the tickets is Michel Soavi, who directed Dell'amore della Morte, aka Cemetery Man, which I will link to that video at the end of this one, so be sure to stick around for that. Anyways, he's handing out these tickets to a show, and as the recipients all kind of show up to check this thing out, we have quite the mix of people. Not only our initial invitee and her plus one, the woman who we kind of opened the film with, but we also have like some college kids, a blind man, and I believe his niece who's kind of there to help him out, a pimp and two prostitutes, and of course several others. And while gathering in the lobby before the film, one of the prostitutes takes this display mask from the lobby, like an item that's associated, looking like it's like a promotional item for the movie, and puts it over her face, and she's kind of scratched by something within it. A little bit more on that later. But moving forward, the film. So the film we are watching kind of gives us a bit of a meta feel in that people in the film are watching a film, but within that film, the characters are opening up an old tomb of Nostradamus, but instead of finding a body, they just find like a book and a mask that's similar to the one that we saw earlier in the lobby, which had scratched our prostitute. Character in the film also puts it on, also gets scratched, but then he kind of turns into this gross demon and starts taking out his friends. Unfortunately, the prostitute has a similar issue in that that scratch begins to bleed again. She goes to the restroom to kind of check it out, and while she's in there, she kind of transforms herself and starts going on this rampage. So now we get the mayhem and the panic as some people are being taken out while others are being infected. Kind of like a zombie film, but instead it's around demons instead, which are definitely much faster, more cruel, and more dangerous in general. But what really sticks out, no pun intended, is the gore. This definitely had some of the grossest scenes that I've seen, and not in like a realistic way, such as like the Terrifier films where they have outlandishly graphic scenes, but they're still trying to make it look more or less real, that we can imagine what that would look like if somebody had a chainsaw up the back door, let's say. Instead, it's a very slimy and sticky feel. While the gore of the attacks themselves are in full force, is also this very sticky, pus-like aspect to all of these scenes. Disgusting color and viscosity, which is a word I never expected to even use in the video, but definitely some gross and violent acts. In some ways, I find it more gross than what I've seen in other films before, because while it's not realistic along the lines of some other films try to bring across, it's gross in a different way. This disgusting, like, off-white, slightly yellow, sticky, dripping with blood swirling in, causing like a off-pink aspect with green hues to it. Really gross stuff. Now, with YouTube, they'll usually have some sort of an issue with too much gore, and I've seen many videos where people have had to like blur things out. With this one, I don't really know how they will address it, so that's why I'm trying to keep it relatively tame, because technically it isn't gore as we usually see blurred out, but it's very unrealistic, but I still need to play it safe. Anyways, definitely rambling, gory, sticky, gross. But outside of that, as far as the story goes, not very deep, doesn't really need to be. There's no layers upon layers, but we have the fact that as panic ensues, and people are trying to get out of this theater, they find that they are locked in, bricked in actually. There really is no escape. And I'll mention it again, being trapped in a situation really makes things more frightening for me. Something that our characters can't easily escape or sidestep. I need that claustrophobic feel, which we definitely have here, is that they can't escape the building. But also, the building is big enough that there's plenty of room to run around and even at one point ride a motorcycle through the place, wielding a big prop sword of sorts. So we still have enough space inside to have some action-packed aspects, brought into this film to kind of keep things very exciting along the way. Also, setting this at night with only brief moments outside the theater serving as like a break from the meat of the carnage of what's happening inside, as we follow some other characters around who are kind of working their way towards the theater, we get what I call another one of those like late night flicks, the kind which, you want to watch it late at night, all the lights out, house is quiet, no distractions. I love that late night feel. It doesn't have to even be high gore horror. Other films I feel have that same late night feel would be like Late Night with the Devil, The Fog, Dark City, The Crow, Near Dark. Those kinds which kind of go well in that late night dark kind of viewing. It's kind of hard to explain, but just certain ones give me that kind of feel. Now, as for how things wrap up in this film, of course, I'm not going to go into too much detail on that, but I will just say that it is a bit open-ended, like a lot of horror films were in the day. Not like a cliffhanger per se, but definitely setting the seed for a sequel. Definitely just like leaving it open for one, but it still has its own finale there. And then from what I read, there were plans to do 3 of these, with the sequel Demons actually being produced as a direct follow-up, which I think I saw years back as well, and a third one being released as a film named The Church, which I haven't seen it, but I hear it doesn't really have anything to do with the first 2. Like I said, I may have seen Demons 2 at some point, but honestly I'd gotten a lot of these films and their names mixed up, because when I sat down to watch this, my original plan was to watch Night of the Demons, the one with the mask in the movie theater, only to get 15 minutes in and realize, wait a minute, I know this film, but it's not the one I was thinking of, and then to instead queue up Demons on Shudder to get to the ones I was thinking of. And I saw that they also have Demons 2 as well, so I may check out that one. So yeah, I got things kind of mixed up, wasted 15 minutes on the wrong film, however, one that I also will revisit, that Night of the Demons, but I'm ultimately finally getting it right in this one, remembering some of the scenes along the way from like way back when I first saw it in the late 80s. It definitely was a treat. It's short and to the point. It's easy and quick setup. Our introductions, which, have introductions which happen very, swiftly, and they set in well. Frequently revisiting those characters throughout, so we kind of remember who everybody is as all of this unfolds and kind of check in on them. Doesn't take too long to really get going, and when it does, it's pure carnage and what I can only call a sticky, gross, violent film, which is more than worth checking out. And speaking of checking out, thanks for checking out this video here for my latest recommendation for Demons from 1985. At the time of this video, it's out there. It's on the Shudder, Hoopla, Canopy, Philo, Pluto TV, Mubi, Nightflight, Screenbox, Full Moon, Paid Rental. It's just everywhere. So check out that Just Watch app to see if it's on a service that you already have access to. Like I said, my only issue was just getting that name mixed up, but I really had a good time with this one and hope to check out Demons 2 really soon before revisiting Night of the Demons, so I can keep this first film in mind as I go into the sequel. Anyways, that's all I've got for this one. There is a link coming up in just a moment for that video for Cemetery Man, which if you enjoyed this film or this video, you will likely enjoy that video as well. Nowhere near as gory of a film. It's got much stronger of like an art house kind of feel to it in some ways, almost philosophical stuff kind of happening within it. Also stars Rupert Everett, so get ready to click on that video. And finally, thanks for coming by, and if you enjoyed, please give me a thumbs up, and if not already subscribed, consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon to get notifications for when I put up new content, which is typically 1 to 3 times a week. Check out the back catalog after you check out this video for Cemetery Man, and I will see you in the next one.